What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and this is my hands-on review of the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. So now both of these were announced and released together, and after years of criticizing larger smartphones, Apple have finally realized that many consumers actually want bigger screens. And this time around we've got not one but two larger iPhones. Now I am going to be doing the review of the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus and comparing them all in this one video rather than having lots of separate videos in which I'm repeating myself. So it is going to be a long one. Sit back, relax and enjoy. So let's start off with the biggest change that we've seen on any iPhone so far, and that is the screen size. The iPhone 6 has a 4.7-inch screen, whereas the iPhone 6 Plus has a 5.5-inch screen. Now these are considerably larger compared to the iPhone 5S and the iPhone 5, which had 4-inch screens. And we've got LED backlit IPS displays. Resolution wise, the iPhone 6 has 1334 by 750 pixels, and that works out to 326 ppi pixel density, which is exactly the same as the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S. The iPhone 6 Plus has a more standard resolution, and that's full 1080p HD 1920 by 1080, and that's 401 ppi pixel density. Now both of these are absolutely great screens, amazing viewing angles and great viewing outdoors. Resolution wise, the iPhone 6 Plus definitely gets the edge here. You may not notice the difference from a distance, but if you do bring the smartphones closer, you'll notice that the iPhone 6 Plus is that much sharper. Now it goes without saying that a larger screen size is going to require a larger body. So both of these are larger compared to previous models. The iPhone 6 is a little bit larger compared to the iPhone 5S. It does, however, fit quite nicely in the hand, and it is possible to reach all corners of the screen depending on your hand size. The iPhone 6 Plus does come in considerably larger, so it's 20mm larger than the iPhone 6 in height, 10.8mm larger in terms of width, and it's also 0.2mm thicker. So this is definitely a device that is more intended for two-handed usage compared to the iPhone 6. And if you are coming from the iPhone 5S, then this is definitely going to be quite a big step up. Now in terms of the weight, the iPhone 6 just weighs 129 grams, which is not bad for this size of device. The iPhone 6 Plus does come in much higher at 172 grams, so it's 43 grams more compared to the iPhone 6. Now both of these have an aluminium unibody design, so this is a full metal build, and they both come in the silver, gold and space grey versions. The design has been updated from the iPhone 5S, so you've not got those chamfered edges anymore. You've got a curved back. This is similar to some of the iPod Touches that we've seen. And one thing that I don't like about these personally is those antenna bands. I've said this before, and I really think that Apple could have done something a little bit better. Coming from Apple, these antenna bands really don't look that great, and they stand out quite a bit more on the gold version because you've got quite a bit of contrast. On the space grey versions that we have here, they aren't so bad. Both do, however, feel very nice in the hand and definitely do feel quite premium. There is that protruding camera lens which a lot of people have criticized. So if you put these devices flat on a surface, then they aren't going to stay flat, they are going to wobble a little bit. This I wasn't too bothered about because I usually put my smartphone in a case, and if you do have your iPhones in a case, then this shouldn't be a problem. Now talking about the bend issue, the bend gate issue, which has gone viral very recently. Now with the iPhone 6 Plus, some users have been complaining that because of the large size and the fact that this is a very thin device, it can bend in your pocket. Now I've personally not found this, and this hasn't been an issue for me whatsoever. I wouldn't recommend putting this in your back pocket or anything, as I wouldn't recommend doing that with any other device. Generally speaking, I don't think this is a massive issue and it's not really going to affect many people. Now moving on to the internals, both of these are practically the same. You've got the Apple A8 dual-core 1.4 GHz 64-bit chip on both, and there's also the M8 Motion coprocessor which has been updated from the previous version. And both devices also have 1 GB of RAM. Now on paper, these may not seem as great as some of the other devices out there, but performance wise I found these to be absolutely great. I've done a performance test of the iPhone 6 versus the Samsung Galaxy S5, and I found them both to be very similar. And generally speaking, in terms of performance, as with other iPhone devices, I don't think you're going to have a problem. The software is very much optimized with the hardware, and both devices run very fast and smooth. Now in terms of internal storage, you've got 16, 64 and 128GB versions available on both sides. So they have ditched the 32GB version I would have rather they ditched the 16 gig version and gone straight to 32, but that's not there. Not a huge deal really. No expandable storage, that goes without saying, as we've never had with any other Apple devices. I do think most people will be going for that 64 gig version now that you can get it at the same price as you previously could for the 32 gig version. Now, in terms of the cameras, both of these have an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera with the TrueTone flash. The only difference being is that the iPhone 6 Plus has optical image stabilization, whereas the iPhone 6 has digital image stabilization. Both of these also have face detection autofocus, which is great, and Apple are calling it focus pixels. They like giving fancy names. I just call it face detection. Now, both take absolutely great images and video. I was very impressed with the quality. Generally speaking, iPhones are very much known for the quality of images that we've got. Now, they've not upped the resolution here. We've still got 8 megapixels, which I'm sort of fine with. You can't crop in as much as you can do with other devices, but that's not a huge problem. In terms of the difference between these two cameras, I didn't really see much of a difference in my usage. Yes, the iPhone 6 Plus with the optical image stabilization is going to give you a little bit more stable footage when you're doing video, but generally speaking, in terms of images, I didn't really notice much of a difference. I've done an in-depth camera comparison between the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, which is available on the channel, so do go ahead and check that out if you want to see some more side-by-side comparisons. Generally speaking, both take great images and video. Now, as well as 1080p video, both of these devices also do 720p at up to 240 frames a second, so this is an advancement on the previous version, the iPhone 5S, which had 120 frames a second, and the slow motion at 240 frames a second is definitely one of my favorite features on the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. It works absolutely great, especially with that software. You can make a whole video slow motion or just pick a select part, and it works really well. You can see an example slow motion video that I've done on the channel, and that will be linked in the description below. One thing to bear in mind about slow motion is that it does drop the light level quite a bit because you're capturing so many more frames. So this does work best outdoors and in good light. I mean, if you are indoors, then the slow motion is going to be really dark. So this is just something to bear in mind. Now, the front facing cameras, you've still got 1.2 megapixels with 720p HD. Now, the quality is absolutely fine and is going to be great for selfies, but I wish they had increased the resolution to roughly about 2 megapixels and 1080p video. It's really disappointing to see that in 2014 we still don't have 1080p from the front facing cameras here. This is something that's a bit of a disappointment for me, but quality wise I have to say they are pretty good overall. Now, operating system, you've got iOS 8 here on both, which is going to come out of the box. Just to mention a few features, firstly, you've got reachability on both devices here. What that basically does is by tapping the home button twice, it brings down the whole screen, which is supposed to make it a little bit easier to use with one hand. This can be useful. I didn't really find myself using it too much, but if you are somebody who uses your device with one hand and you want to reach those top corners and your notifications, then tapping the home button will bring everything down. The iPhone 6 Plus has been optimized a little bit for larger screen use. So for example, the home screen, you can actually have it in landscape mode now, and certain apps have also been optimized, such as Mail, which will split into 2 screens to make it that little bit easier to use. This is very similar to what we see on the iPad and the iPad mini. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that because you've got newer resolutions on both the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, some apps do look a little bit fuzzy right now because they haven't been updated as yet to make the most of these new resolutions. So you may have to wait a few weeks, but without a doubt they're going to be coming very soon. Now, both devices also come with Touch ID, the fingerprint scanner on the home button. Now, this has been carried over from the iPhone 5S and has some advancements. It's absolutely great and works without any flaws. You can put your finger or thumb on the home button at any angle and it will still pick it up. This is miles ahead of a lot of the competition, comparing it to something like the Samsung Galaxy S5, which you have to swipe on and is not very accurate. I think Apple are definitely the leaders here in terms of fingerprint scanning technology on smartphones. So you can use Touch ID to unlock your phone as before. You can also authorize payments on iTunes. But the new thing that you're going to be having is Apple Pay. This is going to be coming from next month in North America and then across the world later on. And what Apple Pay is going to allow you to do is use NFC, that's both on the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, to authorize payments with many retailers. Apple have partnered with lots of retailers for this. So this is a great feature which is going to be coming very soon. Now, looking at the batteries, the iPhone 6 has an 1810 mAh battery. The iPhone 6 Plus has a 2915 mAh battery. I've covered in detail my usage and what type of usage I got out of both of these in a separate video. I will be linking that in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. But generally speaking, the iPhone 6 did get me through the day on some occasions, but I did need a top up by about 10 p.m. But I am a medium to heavy user, so for a lot of users it is probably going to last you the day. It's definitely an improvement on the iPhone 5S. The iPhone 6 Plus I found gave me about 40% more usage compared to the iPhone 6. So if the iPhone 6 gives you a full day, then the iPhone 6 Plus is probably going to give you a day and a half in comparison. So I was definitely impressed with the iPhone 6 Plus battery life. It gave me a lot of usage. I think most users are not going to have a problem getting through the full day on a single charge. The one issue to bear in mind is that the iPhone 6 Plus does take a very long time to charge with the charger that comes out of the box. Now you can get an adapter that you have to pay more for from the Apple Store, which is going to charge this faster, but out of the box this takes forever to charge, something to bear in mind. Now finally, looking at the price for the base model of the iPhone 6, you're looking at £539 or $649. This is off contract, just to see the value of the device, and then the other models go up as so. The iPhone 6 Plus comes in at £619 or $749 for the 16GB model, so that's the base model, and then the other prices go up as so. So the iPhone 6 Plus does come in at a higher price point compared to the iPhone 6. The 16GB version of the iPhone 6 Plus is at the same price as the 64GB version of the iPhone 6. So there we have it, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. Overall, I have really enjoyed using both smartphones. Now, in some ways, you could say that Apple is playing catch up with lots of the other competition out there. But in other ways, it is leading, such as with Touch ID, which is still not matched by any of the competitors. Now, depending on which one is right for you, if you are thinking of going for one of these, it is going to come down to your personal preference. I mean, the iPhone 6 is definitely more compact and easier to use with one hand, but with the iPhone 6 Plus, you do get some additional features such as the larger screen with the high resolution, the optical image stabilization on the camera, and most of all, that larger battery. So this is going to last you a lot longer compared to the iPhone 6. This, however, does come at the expense of a larger smartphone, which is not going to be as easy to use with one hand and at that higher price point. Now, what do you think of the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, and which one do you think is better? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so no. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway, so yeah.